great new series of Driven. You look forward to it?
Can't wait. Really enjoyed the last one.
Excellent, good.
Where's Brewer?
Oh, he'll be around somewhere. He's probably down the auction trying to pick up some old tank or something. You know, he likes to get a good
Penny! This is Driven! Sorry!
Welcome to a new series of Driven, and luckily we have 3 unsquashed off-roaders to test in the Driven 100, where each car is scored in 4 categories: driveability, desirability, practicality and the cost of ownership. Mike takes his top off in the south of France with the new Peugeot 206 Cabriolet. And think you're getting a good deal on new cars now that the manufacturers have dropped prices? Well, we've got news for you.
This is the Challenger 2 tank, said to be the best in the world. It carries 4 passengers, weighs 64 tonnes, has a maximum speed of 45 miles an hour, and it cost a whopping 3.2 million quid. Now, for a fraction of that price, you could take all 3 of this week's cars home. Like the Challenger 2, off-roaders drink fuel and can be a pig to park. As if that weren't enough, they have a tendency to lean precariously through tight corners. But now there are some new kids on the block that claim to be as nifty on the black stuff, that's tarmac to you and me, as they are in the mud.
BMW thinks its first purpose-built off-roader, the X5, is such a hoot to drive, they launched on a racetrack. Souped-up off-roaders? Well, you better get used to them. Even Porsche's building one later this year.
Drug dealer, moi, but luckily you can get a Lexus RX 300 in less sinister colours than this. Like the X5, it's designed to be a luxury car first and a flood rescue vehicle second. It's got an options list the size of Wales, and it makes BMW's offerings look positively mean.
Believe it or not, this Mercedes ML320 is the cheapest car here. It's not a favourite on Driven, but it's a big hit in Chelsea. And unlike the other 2, this car's got some more traditional off-road features, like a low-range gearbox and a separate chassis, which means the chassis is made up of a big steel girder, much like you get in the original Land Rover.
So, to our first test. And with a little help from the British Army in Germany, it's showdown time. This is the place where the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards train with their no-nonsense Army Land Rovers. Now, we've been here for just 2 minutes and look at the state of the cars. This is true off-roading. And are these up to the job? Well, Mike and Penny are about to find out.
Now, the BMW X5 has permanent four-wheel drive, with 62% of its drive going to the rear wheels and 38% to the front.
It really is quite a challenging course, this. You can't believe, sitting in the car, that a car can actually get across this stuff. It is so carved up.
It's just incredible.
It's got stability and traction control hooked up with ABS. It's got tons of technology. Right, so quite an intense hill coming up. Stop at the top. Whoa, stop there.
Why?
So now we're going to use the hill descent control system, which is a technology that they've got from Land Rover on the old Freelander. So you press a button, just coast over the crest of the hill and take your feet off of everything.
My feet are off everything.
What it's doing is it's finding the wheel with the most grip and it's braking that wheel.
It's really remarkable. You can just hear the wheels braking in all the 4 corners. So you don't really have to do anything.
BMW, mate, I'll tell you, why didn't you launch this vehicle on this off-road course? Because it's making mincemeat out of it.
I think the Challenger 2 tank has just been made redundant. The Lexus 3-litre VVTi, it feels instantly much lower down than the BMW, and I think it's going to struggle over a lot of this big stuff.
However, it's got permanent 4-wheel drive, and this car has got some trick stuff in it as well. Anti-slip control and traction control.
But you know what? It's got all those gadgets and gizmos, but it's sliding around where the BMW had lots of grip, and really that you could feel the 4-wheel drive a lot more than you can in here.
Now, we've got quite an intense hill in front of us coming up.
This is making me nervous because I think it's going to bottom out here.
No, come on, we're going to make it.
I know, and we're stuck.
And we are stuck.
And there you go. I just kind of knew this was going to happen.
I'm going to suggest that you give it a little bit more willy
Would you like
this time.
to put some money on this hill?
No, I would just like to see if we can get up it. So go on, foot down, girl, up we go. Go on, see?
It's sliding all over the shop.
It hasn't got, but you can feel it scrabbling, all that electronic stuff kicked in there, and it took us over that hill, no problem at all.
But it just doesn't have the kind of traction the BMW's got. Nothing like it.
First impressions for me in the Mercedes ML320 is that we're riding over the same ruts and bumps that we were in the previous two cars, and it seems to be coping with it again, you know, quite admirably.
Obviously we've got the V6 3.2 litre engine, and the drive is split 50-50 in here.
This car, unlike the other two, has got electronic selectable low-range gears. It's got ABS assist, and that's designed for off-road use as well. So as you're going down a hill and you've got your foot on the brake, it's detecting what wheel yet again is slipping, and it applied a braking force to that wheel.
I have to say I'm not nearly as comfortable in here as I was in the other two, and somehow it just feels much more raw. I guess more of an off-roader than a limousine like the BMW. I really did expect this one to be more agile over the bumps, and it's not.
Large overhangs hampered the Lexus off-road. It comes last. The Merc lacked refinement but made it round the muddy course and comes second. So the winner by a country mile is the BMW.
Is it hoods up or down in this season's fashions? Well, Peugeot think they have the answer.
Viens dans les quartiers voir le paradis.
Saint-Tropez, playground of the rich and famous. Just a place for cruising with the roof down.
Viens dans les quartiers voir le paradis.
But even on the Riviera, the weather can be unpredictable. So what if it rains? Well, this convertible has a trick up its sleeve.
Things that fold away are really cool. Take this micro scooter, for example. It folds down into a nice, neat little package.
Bonjour.
Or that swanky-looking Mercedes-Benz SLK with its metal roof that folds neatly into the boot, but that'll set you back nearly 40 grand. Well, now you can have a Saint-Tropez image for talking money with this Peugeot's 206cc. And the CC, well, it stands for Coupe Cabriolet.
Peugeot kicked off the whole folding roof thing back in the 30s. Although the 206cc has a similar system to the Mercedes SLK, this car will only set you back 16 grand, which puts it in a class of its own. But it can perform equally well as a coupe and as a cabriolet.
The advantages of this are clear because in England, very much like in the south of France this time of year, we get inclement weather, and security, that plays heavy on our mind. So having a car with a tin top is a definite advantage. The 206cc has the same, if not better, sporty ride than its sibling, the GTI. Extra rigidity throughout the chassis means this car has got great neutral handling. In fact, on slippery roads like this, it's a struggle to get it wrong. And now for the best bit, the spectacular folding roof, which can be retracted while you're on the move. That's if you're doing less than 7 miles an hour. You pull these two little catches down here, press this button, and there it goes. The whole thing starts to whir back. Why 7 miles an hour? Well, it's obvious, so you can pose. Arm on the window, yeah. Look at this, fantastic. So you then lose the claustrophobic feel of the interior cabin and you're transported into the world of suntan chic and cappuccino froth.
Roof down the 206cc continues to impress with hardly any wind noise even at high speeds. This is the top of the range 2 litre version on your forecourts now. The 137 brake horsepower engine will get you to 127 miles per hour with ease, and 0 to 60 only takes 8.5 seconds. Inside you get sport seats, silver-faced instrument panels and sporting touches everywhere. Look, this is all just too good to be true. There must be some flaws in this car.
The perfect view and a perfect day to take your mates out for a ride. Now Peugeot tell us the 206 Coupe Cabriolet is a 2+2, which means 2 adults in the front and 2 something or others in the back. Admittedly, you can get a case in there, but they say they've hollowed out these rear seats to maximise legroom. But whatever you do, don't offer to take any of your mates for a ride, even if they're half the size of me. All right, guys, can somebody let me out now?
OK, forget about ferrying passengers around, but with the roof up there's a good sized boot, and even in sunshine mode there's still room for a large suitcase, which fits under the protective cover. There'll be a 1.6 version available later this year at around 14 grand in the UK. But here's a downer for all of us, the 206cc will be 3 grand cheaper in France. So, it looks like I got my Saint-Tropez image after all. Now, when this car hits the UK, we expect the 1.6 to be the big seller, probably on price alone. Let's face it, this car's going to spend most of its life outside the coffee bars of England, so it needs the 137 brake horsepower anyway. The 206cc serves its purpose well both as a coupe and a cabriolet. It's like 2 cars rolled into one. And priced at 15,995 quid, we expect Peugeot to sell shed loads of them. However, I still think it's overpriced by about £1,000, so it looks like you will need to get your fold in to buy one after all. Au revoir.
For more on the cars featured in this show, plus a preview of the Detroit Motor Show, log on to allthews4car.co.uk. After the break, the battle continues in the Driven 100, and we've got some shocking news on car prices.
100, it's inspection time.
Now, the chances are none of these 3 cars are going to see any real mud. They just got to look the part in Kensington or Chelsea. Are they well polished or just brassed off? Well, to help me out with the inspection, I've got Commanding Officer David Allfrey and his tank driver, Phil Balfour. Right then, guys, so the BMW X5 is the new kid on the block. First impressions, what do you think the way it looks?
I think it's nice shape.
Looks like a classic BMW, doesn't it? Just with bigger wheels and more muscular.
It's like a BMW M5 on steroids, isn't it?
It has.
Looks the part. Right, inside, it's got quite a nice layout for it. So, would this be up your street, comfort-wise?
Yeah, it's really comfy.
So as you're taking David to one of these meetings, you've got a TV here, David, optional extra. You could listen to.
Just if we get bored.
And to make Phil a little bit more comfortable, you have an optional heated steering wheel. Believe it or not, Phil.
That'd be nice.
Right. So at the back here, you've got this rather nice split tailgate boot opening. You can lower this down, very much like the Range Rover. Is this the type of thing George would travel?
Yeah, George will go in here.
George?
Yeah, get up.
Come on.
Hup.
Ah,
Whoa.
there you go. Look.
That's all
Look
right,
at that.
isn't it?
Nice and comfortable, isn't it, George? You like it?
Lovely
He
boy.
likes it. Right, next is the RX 300. Now, this is the new baby from Lexus, their first foray, so to speak, into the world of off-roading. It's got quite nice clearance. It looks sort of butcher masculine. What do you think?
Bit of a drug smuggler's car, I think.
It's a contraband carrier, isn't it?
It is
David?
indeed.
But in this car, you've got creature comforts like satellite navigation again, rake and height adjustable steering column.
Very futuristic, this harbors, isn't it? For me, it's got more space inside, but actually you feel a bit exposed, curiously. The dashboard is lower.
Lower down,
And
yeah.
I think I prefer the BMW inside.
Right, so the boot on this car has not got the split level tailgate like on the BMW.
It's a big boot, actually.
It is a big boot. You get your Wellington boots in there, bit of artillery.
Easy.
A couple of soldiers you'd even squeeze in there, wouldn't you?
No problem.
On a run. Right then, guys, last of the scrappy bunch is this, the Mercedes ML320. Now, David, you've got one of these, haven't you? So obviously the appeal of the exterior has already taken you on board.
It certainly has. I took delivery about 6 weeks ago.
Should we have a look inside, chaps?
I have to say, having sat in all 3 now, I'm actually pretty comfortable about this. I'm happy with this.
You actually sit higher up in this car as well, don't you? I think you get more of a sense of power. How does that elate to the driver? Do you get that?
Well, it's quite high up, yeah. In relation to the other ones, you can see more in front of you.
Right then, guys, George, you don't have to ask. What a trained... Well, now he's obviously been in the back of your one, so he knows what that's like. The thing that I noticed immediately, it's definitely got the widest load area.
And actually, there's a nice net that comes up as well.
Oh, is
keeps
it?
the hand off the leather seats too.
Right then, guys, you've given our 3 cars a thorough inspection. Is it going to be one of our 2 Bavarian cruisers or the little Japanese Pretender at the end there? Phil, let's start with you. Which one is it?
I'll have to go for the BMW.
Why?
Well, it's image. I think it'd be the one for me. All the buttons and gadgets and that on the inside. It's the best overall cross
The best
country.
overall, so once you're a colonel, that's what you'll get. Now, sir, what's it going to be?
Well, I think if you'd asked my wife, she'd have probably gone for the BMW.
That's interesting.
I'm happy. I would go for the Mercedes. Having seen all 3, I would still go for that. I think it does everything I want in a car, and yeah, I think I've made the right choice.
So there you have it. The armed forces can't split the 2 Bavarian tanks, I think we'll call them, but it's one apiece.
Right, over to the newsroom.
And now for yesterday's news, and car prices finally fell.
Trade and Industry Secretary Stephen Byers said new car prices should fall by an average of £1,100 or 10%. How would manufacturers react?
Well, Mike, things started slowly. Mitsubishi was the first to drop their prices, but posh brands like Mercedes, Audi, Saab and Jaguar soon followed. By the end of the year, even big boys like Ford and Vauxhall had caved in.
So we all did really well and we can all go home now. Not exactly, because not all price cuts were as good as they looked. Take Ford, for example. They slashed £3,000 off the price of the Cougar, but then discontinued the model weeks later.
Manufacturers got round the government stipulation of a 10% average discount on cars by offering huge reductions on cars that didn't sell and tiny reductions on cars that did.
Mercedes, for example, cut a whopping £14,600 off the price of the S500 limo, but only £1,700 off the more popular A140 Classic.
And Toyota, well, £2,260 off the Celica, but only £450 off the Yaris. Well, that's today's news. What about tomorrow's? Our motoring correspondent asked an industry specialist for his opinion.
So this year, what have we got to look forward to?
There's a great deal to look forward to. The biggest thing that's happened over the last few months is that consumers can see that the deal in the showroom is now really, really competitive.
So may I ask, would you buy your new car from here, or are you likely to go abroad and save yourself 30%?
I would categorically buy in the United Kingdom. I would be very unlikely to save 30%. There will always be some cars somewhere that look to be a better price deal in another market, but that's all falling away. The franchise dealer showroom is where the good deals are.
Well, that was the view of the British motor trade, but we have some news just in, that some dealers on the continent are now selling more cars to the UK than they are in their own country. So whatever the SMMT says, it looks as though many of us are making big savings by buying on the continent. Back to you in the studio, Pen.
Thank you, Mike. Now, let me demonstrate here with my Eurometer. Now, if you wanted to buy yourself a BMW X5, you could go to Holland and get yourself 20% off the 4.4 litre version and save nearly £9,000. Take another trip to Holland for an Alfa Romeo 156 Sportwagon, save another 20%. That's nearly £4,000. Why not head off to Belgium for the weekend and buy yourself a Mercedes-Benz E-Class? You'll save 29%. That's nearly £10,000. And finally, another trip to Belgium to buy our car of the year last year, the new Ford Mondeo, could save you an astonishing 31%. That's over £6,000. Back to you, Mike.
Of course, importing isn't for everybody, and there are pitfalls, like delivery times that can run on for months.
You must always deal with a reputable source, but for more important importing information, log on to our website at allthews.4car.co.uk.
And that's the end of the news. Good night.
Good night.
Can we shuffle our papers now?
The best import deals around are on the website, plus all the latest motoring news, features and tests, all on 4car.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Driven 100, and for our final test we've come back across the channel to Blighty. Now, to determine which of our three cars is hot and which is not in the sudden lane change manoeuvre, we've roped in a team of boffins to help us out.
That's right, this series of Driven will be using the expertise of Ricardo, independent engineering consultants to the motor industry big names, to back up our test with solid scientific proof. Jason will carry out a sudden lane change at 55 miles per hour to test a Driven worry, off-roader stability.
As we're back home, we've got right-hand drive versions of all three cars, which the chaps have stuffed full of fancy electronics to measure how much grip the cars lose and how far they tilt over.
So we're in the BMW X5. Now, despite its amazing off-road capabilities, this car was designed for the road, so this test should be a breeze.
This car was actually launched on the ultimate racetrack, the Nürburgring of all places.
But you know where you're going to see it most? On the school run, four-wheel drive, loads of power, but it's going to be tootling to and from schools.
Right, we're at 55 miles an hour. Here's the lane change, and we'll see how it fares.
Oh, you nearly took a cone out.
Hello, hello.
I did have to think there. But in fairness, it was 55 miles an hour. The course is quite tight, but it was pretty good.
Although the X5 leaned over, it didn't lose grip, and its responsive steering helped it sail around the obstacle.
So now we're in the Lexus RX 300. Now this feels a little bit like an MPV to me.
Yeah, and it's lower than the other two, so it should feel more car-like.
Now this car has taken America by storm. However, they say they've tuned it for European taste because we don't want it roly-polying around like American cars, and we're just about to find out when we go for our lane
55
change.
mile an hour, right, let's have a look.
I'm a little bit more nervous
Yeah,
than
Yes, I am. Holy cow.
Right, well, the
So that's what happened there then, JP. It was a certain...
slippage.
Less body roll than the BMW, but light steering made the Lexus feel unstable. Mind you, the onboard traction system helped to limit progressive oversteer.
So now we're up in the Mercedes ML320. Now this out of the three feels the most rugged, the most chunky, well, the most off-roady.
Yeah, it's agricultural and it also feels a little bit unwieldy.
Much like the others, it's got a traction control device, and hopefully it will help us through this lane
55,
changing.
here we go. Hello there.
Big... I'll tell
I'll
you what,
tell you
how
what.
you escaped that cone, I'll never know.
Sheer style and talent.
This time the ESP saved the day, but Ricardo's test showed it was compensating for the Merc's tendency to sudden oversteer.
Penny's lost the ability to talk, which is great.
The Mercs last this time with the Lexus sliding into second place and the Beamer a clear winner again.
Time for the Driven 100. Now this is where we rate our three cars in four categories: drivability, desirability, practicality and cost of ownership. Now there's 100 points up for grabs with 25 in each category. So let's get on with it. BMW first and drivability.
Well, probably one of the most outstanding cars that I've ever driven, on-road and off-road.
Lane change, this was by far the best. Come on, let's give it a good score. 21?
21.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Lexus.
And drivability. Well, Pen,
Off-road, it was not as good as the others, but nevertheless, it's not a bad drive.
Oversteering through the lane change test gives it 17.
So the Mercedes drivability.
well, out of three, it is definitely the most unwieldy. It
Yeah.
takes a long time to settle down, not only on-road, but also off-road.
And another 17.
So, desirability and the BMW X5.
The quality inside this car is so superior to the other two. Desirability, they're going to be everywhere.
Giving it 22. We reckon the Lexus is a bit too gangster rapper for the Green Welly Brigade. It's got niche appeal and we give it 17 points. It's got a Mercedes badge, but we felt interior standards were disappointing on the ML320. It gets 17.
Practicality and the BMW. It's got tons of space and even comes with parking sensors as standard, giving it a well-rounded 22. And the Lexus?
A great car for off-road, on-road use and shoving your shopping in. So yeah,
Kids, everything. It's going to be good, what, 21?
Yep.
And the Merc?
They're all as practical as one another.
Yeah, there's nothing in it as far as practicality is concerned,
21?
really.
21. You're enjoying this, JP.
I am,
Yeah, you're
I am.
flying for
It's
it.
warm, it's the sun's out, fellas.
Now, cost of ownership. This is what it'll cost you to own the car over 3 years or 60,000 miles, including depreciation, fuel and servicing, but not insurance. For a comparison, this Ford Mondeo costs 55 pence per mile. The BMW, by contrast, costs 82 pence and it scores a lowly 11 points. Even worse, the Lexus costs 85 pence, so gets a sickening 10. And the Merc costs a relatively reasonable 78 pence, giving it 12. So with the final scores in, let's see who's up for promotion.
Well, in third place, the Lexus RX 300 is this week's Corporal Jones with 65 points. In second place, the Mercedes ML320 with 67 points. But this week's Captain Mannering is the BMW X5.
It scored a massive 76 points that only puts it one off the Driven 100 all-time record. And on that note, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Something for the weekend, sir. Next week we're testing stripped-down sports cars that'll bring a smile to your face on road or track, whatever the weather.
More from Driven at the same time next week, whatever the weather. And once again, if you'd like more information about the subjects covered in Driven, check out the Channel 4 motoring website at 4car.co.uk.